Hello everyone, my name is Siyad Maalim from Soma Academy, and in today's video I will cover Pythagoras Theorem. In a right-angled triangle, the relationship is such that the square of the hypotenuse, the longer side of the triangle, is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. Let us see an example of that. So one thing we need to note is that this theorem only applies to right angle triangle. So if we do have the right angle triangle as such, A, B, C, this symbol here always denotes the right angle triangle. The longer side of the triangle here is always called the hypotenuse. This is normally the base of the triangle, and this is the height. So if we label each side by this alphabet A, B, C, let's say here B, small b, here small c, and here A, the relationship of the three sides is such that c squared, which is the hypotenuse, is equal to a squared plus b squared. That is Pythagoras theorem or Pythagoras relationship in a nutshell. Okay, always the hypotenuse, which is the longer side, when you square that, it is equal to the sum of the square of the other two, a squared plus b squared, as denoted in this equation here. So let us take an example to demonstrate this relationship. Say you have a right angle triangle where you have here P, Q, and then R here. The hypotenuse is, let's say, small p, the base is small r, and the height of the triangle is q, small q. If, for example, we have our base as 8 and the height as 6, what is the hypotenuse? In order to find the hypotenuse, we use the same relationship. So p squared is equal to r squared plus q squared. In this case, what is r squared? R squared is 8 squared plus, and q is 6 squared. Q is 6, so q squared is 6 squared. So b squared, which is the hypotenuse, is equal to 64 plus 6 squared is 36. That is, when you add those two, you get 100. In order to find b, you have to square root both sides. Square root of this side of the equation and the square root of the other side of the equation. So b squared, when you square root, you will have p. When you square root 100, you either get plus or minus 10. This is because whenever you square root a whole number, the result is either a positive number or a negative number. But since this is a right angle triangle and the dimension must be a positive number, therefore p must be greater than 0, which means it is a positive number. So we choose the positive number, which is p is equal to 10. Okay, good. So let's see another example where we have the hypotenuse and we are looking for the height given the base of that triangle. Okay, let's draw the right angle triangle one more time. Okay, I can denote the right angle as L, M, and N. So this is small letter L. I'll take here as small n, and this side as m. The relationship always holds. So L squared is equal to m squared plus n squared. Assuming that we have the hypotenuse as 25 and the base being 5, what is the height of that right angle triangle? So there are two ways you can do. First, you could just plug in the numbers in here. So 25 squared is equal to m squared, which we don't have, which is what we are looking for, is plus n is 5, so 5 squared. So 25 squared is 625, then plus m is equal to m squared plus 25. 5 squared is 25. In order to find m squared, we isolate m and take this 25 the other side of the equation. So the sign, when it is positive, it changes into a negative, but if it is also positive, if it is negative, it becomes a positive. So that means 625 minus 25 is equal to m squared. So this gives you 625 minus is equal to 600 is equal to m squared. In order to find m again, you square root both sides. So that gives you m is equal to the square root of 600, which can be written as, I'm taking just the positive number as we explained in the previous example, that the dimension of the triangle must be a positive number. So we can write this as 100 square rooted times square root of 6, which gives you square root of 100 is 10, then root 6. So 10, this is normally called a radical. So that's the answer, but you could also use a calculator to find the exact number. Okay, so let's also do one more example where we are looking for the base given the other two sides. In the next example, we are given the hypotenuse, we have the height of the right angle triangle, and we are looking for the base. So let me draw the triangle again. Okay, that is the symbol to denote a right angle triangle. So WXY, WXY. So if we have the hypotenuse as 13 and the height as 12, we have to find the base. We still use the same principle where we say hypotenuse squared, let's say W here is small y, and this is small x. So W squared is equal to y squared plus x squared. If W is 13, 13 squared is equal to y squared, which is what we are looking for, plus x, which is 12 squared. In order to find y, so we find the square of 13 is 169, is equal to y squared plus the square of 12 is 144. So y squared would be equal to 169 minus 144. So y squared in that case is equal to The difference of these two is 25. To find y alone is you square root both sides, which gives you 5. So that is the value for the base. Okay, so with those 3 examples, you now know the relationship between the 3 sides of a right angle triangle. You also know how to find any sides of the right angle triangle given the other 2. That being said, the key to succeeding in math is to practice, practice, and practice. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Until then, practice, practice, and practice.